Hello, this is Fear Dragon, and welcome to Breaking Out, the show about North American StarCraft 2 players. Here on this show, we take a look at up-and-coming North American talent. Each week, we check out a new player to get a feel for their personality and their playstyle. On Thursday, we interview the player to try and find out more about who they are and why you should care about them. On Friday, we watch 3 of their games as we cover their playstyle in each of the 3 matchups. Saturday, we take a look at an awesome game that they've played and relax with a little bit of fun as we recap the week and get an analysis of the games. Breaking Out will cover 8 players before it culminates into the Breakout Invitational. With a minimum prize pool of $1,000, we find out who is the most likely player to break out of the North American scene. But enough of that. Let's go ahead and jump right into it. Hope you guys enjoy the show. Hello, this is Fear Dragon coming at you with another episode of Breaking Out, the show about North American StarCraft 2 players that you need to know about. Today on the show, we're going to be jumping into the game day of week number 3 for IvD Gaming's Phog, as we go ahead and jump in and introduce the players in the Zerg vs. Zerg. Spawning up here in the top center location of the map Polar Knight, it is the red Zerg player. He is representing Team Gravity, and though his name sounds like he's from Korea, he's actually a fantastic North American Zerg player. His name is Korean Air. And his opponent, spawning down here in the bottom side of the map Polar Knight, we have the blue Zerg player representing Team IvD Gaming, and the highlight player of the week, it is the very young 16-year-old Zerg player, Phog. And honestly, I'm pretty excited to see how this game is going to go, because Phog kind of said that, you know, of all the matchups, this is the one that he said he sort of doesn't know what's going on the most in. Now, he's obviously a very, very solid player, so I still expect him to do some smart things that we can kind of take a look at, and we'll get a generally better idea for his playstyle through this. But it's still always a little bit of a struggle when you're playing in that matchup that you feel the least comfortable in, and I can understand that. Phog has kind of indicated he feels much more comfortable when he gets on those big 3-base plays. He likes to get into those kind of macro games. He likes relying on his mechanics to kind of take him through the game and get that eventual victory. But you know, with Zerg vs. Zerg, it's not always that simple. You have to deal with a lot of Zergling aggression, a lot of Baneling aggression, a lot of Roach aggression. I mean, it's actually really, really difficult to deal with on a map like Polar Knight, because Polar Knight is so conducive. Just going across the map with a handful of Zerglings or Roaches, it's just pretty much a straight line. And you can just immediately get to your opponent's base and do a ton of early aggression, especially when you have speed research. It takes like next to no time to get your Zerglings to your opponent's base. So we'll have to wait and see. Does Phog actually have to deal with that in this game? Does he have to deal with that kind of early Zergling pressure, or does he have to try and do it himself? Does he make a lot of Zerglings? Does he go straight into Roaches? I'm really curious to see how he responds to this, because I know that he did say in his interview that he likes to go for Mutalisk in the late game, which is a bit interesting, because honestly, Mutalisk have sort of fallen a little bit out of style and a lot of out of favor these days in Zerg vs. Zerg. A lot of players are kind of just sticking around on those pure Roach compositions. But with that being said, we do finally have the first deviation between the two builds. This first set of Zerglings coming out for Korean Air, but actually no Zerglings have been created just yet for Phog. He's actually just making additional drones rather than Zerglings. So I mean, every little edge counts, especially in a mirror matchup, especially this early on. But I mean, he's going to just be relying on that Overlord to scout out, and he did see a little bit. Saw that gas geyser go down just barely, and is going to go ahead and back out as the 2 Zerglings are over in the main base. Oh, they may actually be able to get a drone kill. The drone is so low on health. Oh no, that was actually really smart, as Phog actually just kind of messes with the Zergling AI and attacks with a couple of his other drones to not only block, but also to actually make the Zerglings attack him instead of that weakened drone. He manages to salvage it, and look, 0 drones killed after those 2 Zerglings, and the 2 Zerglings do get picked off. So even though Korean Air gets a nice little scat out on everything and actually may be able to get this Overlord. Ooh, nice snipe off, as Phog didn't get a little bit supply block there. That's actually pretty annoying. But I mean, they pretty much saw the same information. So overall, I mean, not making those extra 2 Zerglings really didn't hurt Phog all that much. I mean, you saw the gas geyser, you saw natural expansion down, you saw the main base, etc. But now I'm really curious to see how this transition out, because it looks like these are pretty much identical builds. I mean, Spinecrawler going down, Baneling Nest, Spinecrawler going down, Baneling Nest. Even the positioning is actually pretty similar As you can see, that spine collar in both of these. Well, actually, I have to say, I actually kind of like Karinair's positioning on the spine collar a little bit more, just because it's sort of blocked off immediately from the Zerglings. If they try and run it over here and kill off that spine crawler, then there's a little bit more of that buffer for a wall almost from the Baneling nest. And actually, it's even actually harder to click on. That's actually a really cute positioning. I'm not sure if you could really take advantage of it as a Zerg player in the bottom side of the map, but just a cool little thing. Spine Crawler gonna burrow at the edge of the creep, just kind of getting ready maybe for Baneling aggression if Phog is a little bit concerned about that. He has not actually seen anything yet, but I think that this may be a tell just based on the fact that he hasn't seen any kind of big speedling all-in come out just yet, and he does actually end up seeing the Banelings over there with that one Zergling. It also sees that next gas guys are being thrown down, but honestly, I think that Phog has a nice little gas lead because he got these fourth gas geysers, third and fourth gas geysers earlier. His lair is actually a good 20 or so seconds ahead. That is actually phenomenally great for Phog right now because he has a gas lead and he has a little bit of a lead in his lair tech. That means he's going to be able to get out those potentially, I imagine, Mutalisk tech much faster. I mean, we would have seen a Roach worn down by now if he was intending to go for Roaches. And yeah, we do end up seeing that Spire being thrown down for Phog. And honestly, it looks like Karinair are probably going to be intending to do the same thing as that lair tech is going to be finishing up. And I wouldn't be too surprised to see the lair. Second lair starting up for Karinair. No, he realizes he already has his lair tech. Getting up the Spire. And, you know, Phog, he has an Overseer morphing in very soon. He should be able to see this. I don't think this Queen will be able to kill off this Overseer in time before it finishes morphing. No, it's going to be able to survive. And boom, full health once again. But look at this. Looks like Karinair wants to get a little bit aggressive with some of those Zerglings. Actually, he's trying to go for a cancel on the third expansion, but Phog already has some Banelings in position to deal with it. Manages to clean up a majority of them. The third base will survive for now, but of course, at the same time, Karinair also getting up his own third expansion. And I mean, his is actually a little bit ahead of his opponents, but really the main thing that you're going to want to do is immediately grab those 5th and 6th gas geysers. This is going to be a Mutals versus Mutals war, and that means that the higher Mutals count oftentimes will end up being the victor. There's not really engagement angles with air units so much as there is kind of making sure that you engage underneath your own Zerglings so you can soak up some of those Blade Worm bounces, but even then, a lot of times the engagements don't even happen in those kind of locations. Oh, actually, Phog doing a great job just kind of being annoying and putting on pressure. He has a larger number of Zerglings, so he can continue to be aggressive. He has to be so careful about those Banelings. He's actually gonna get... Okay, he's gonna have to back up. No, he's actually gonna go straight back over to the third expansion. Oh my god, he's just gonna try and focus fire down a third hatchery. No, he's gonna go after some of the drones and get some free damage. And look at this, he's already forced out a lot of these Banelings over here. And honestly, these Banelings have not got a single hit off. All these Banelings could have been extra gas for the Mutalisks. And now you can see over here we have 3 Mutals already out for Phog. He's actually going to be able to pick off one of these Overlords. Oh no, this is actually going to supply block Karinair, and Karinair are going to be in a lot of trouble. He is hard supply block, and that means that Phog is going to be able to produce even more Mutals. You can see the gas count for Karinair is enormously high, but look at this. He's been spending all of his larvae just trying to deal with all that Zergling aggression. We only have 5 larvae available, even though he has enough gas to produce way more than just 5 Mutalisks. So that's going to allow Phog to get a huge lead in the Mutals count. 14 Mutals to 3 Mutals. What is there to defend this third expansion? Oh no, another Overlord going to be falling. Luckily for Karinair, it's not actually going to supply block him, but now the Spine Crawler could very well go down. Another Overlord ends up falling, and now the hatchery is going to be under fire. Some Zerglings trying to go for the counterattack over here, but it looks like Phog just has an enormously larger number of Zerglings. Amazingly enough, and he's actually going to be able to pick off this third expansion. The Mutals from Karinair are just coming out a couple of seconds too late, and even though he's going to be able to pick off one of these Overlords, I mean, a hatchery for an Overlord, that is not a trade you want to be making, of course. And Phog going to be taking an enormous lead in this game as long as he can defend this third expansion. He's mining from those 5th and 6th gas geysers, which once again is going to be the big limiting factor for a Zerg player in this kind of matchup when you're going for the Mutals versus Mutals wars. Now, Karinair, he still has a couple of things going for. 1, his Carapace upgrade is still going to be finishing up, alright? 2, is that he can still try and retake this hatchery, and if he just continues to play a little bit defensive, maybe goes for some counterattacks. Ooh, don't lose any extra Mutalisks that you don't want to. He may still be able to come back in this game, but oh, he has to be so careful. His carapace upgrade is finished up, so those carapace upgrades are so important because it actually soaks up a lot of extra damage from Mutals, because it also soaks up some damage from those Blade Worm bounces. Now we end up seeing the big engagement over here. It looks like Phog has an overwhelming number of Mutals, but the +1 carapace is helping out a little bit for Kareener. More reinforcements coming in for Phog, and Kareener is going to have to back up. He's lost way more Mutals than Phog in that engagement, although I mean, he's down 6 Mutals. If he can somehow find a way to overcome that, but actually, I don't know if he has the opportunity to, because he needs to keep this 3rd expansion alive. He needs those 5th and 6th gas guys. He's going to try and bait engagement and wait for the Queen to maybe help out a little bit. He does manage to keep that 3rd expansion alive, and he's continued to try and go for counterattacks with Zerglings at this 3rd expansion, but you can see over here, Spinecallers and Zerglings constantly just ready for these Zergling swing-ins. And now, once again, the Zerglings are trying to swing in to do some damage, but no, Phog is already prepared, and he's continuing to be aggressive with his Beetles and defensive with his Zerglings, and it is working out gloriously for him. I mean, he knows that his opponent's entire Mutals flock has to stay over here to defend the 3rd expansion. Oh no, they actually get caught a little bit out of position. I think that they saw these Zerglings over here getting ready to charge into the natural expansion, and oh, the Banelings get amazing hits off for Kareener. Is that going to be enough? I'm not entirely sure, because, I mean, the main issue for Kareener right now has just been these Mutalisks, and even though it's great that he's cleaned up a large number of the Zerglings, he still has to find some sort of answer to the Mutals count. The Mutals count is actually 10 ahead of Kareener, and only going to be increasing even further as he just has better production and has more gas to produce the Mutalisks. Now, again, killing off a lot of those Zerglings, Kareener still has the opportunity to maybe just go for some kind of counterattack swing, but look at this. Phog is already prepared again. He has a Baneling sitting over here at the 3rd expansion. He doesn't have as much over in the natural expansion, so I'd like to see maybe Kareener try and poke around to both the 3rd expansion and the natural expansion and sort of try and put on pressure wherever he can. But oh, Kareener does not want to take this engagement yet. He has +2 carapace on the way, and still, actually, Phog does not have any upgrades on his Mutals just yet. It looks like he's just focusing on trying to get up as many Mutals as possible rather than trying to get the upgrades on his Mutals. But still, I mean, he has such an overwhelming number, he can still afford to take any kind of engagements for now. Even with the +2 carapace upgrade, it's still going to be very, very difficult for Kareener to try and take this engagement without any kind of Spore Caller support or anything. So Phog just going to want to try and dance around over here. He's found a great engagement angle, and he's going to be able to take out a lot of these Mutals over here. Oh no, Kareener not engaging with the Queens, not engaging with the actual Spore Callers, and the Zerglings even kind of coming in over to the main base and cleaning up everything. That's going to force out the GG. And a really, really well-played game by both of these players, but Phog coming out on top with some really, really just sick control play. I don't know if you guys play Hearthstone, but that was like a control deck Zerg player if I have ever seen one. I mean, he played in for that late game. He kind of got a mid-game advantage and just kept it going up until the late game. Just said, no, you're not allowed to get up that 3rd expansion. Nope, you're actually not allowed to start mining from your 5th and 6th gas geysers. And really, it all came back to that early game advantage that he got. He used those early Zerglings that he had to try and put on pressure, while he basically just said, well, I'm just going to get up a slightly faster lair tech. So his lair tech was about 25 seconds faster. He had a large number of Zerglings as well, so he went and put on some pressure, forced out a lot of those Banelings, but also forced up all the larvae to be used by Kareener when his his spire was finished up. So Kareener had his spire finished up. He wants to start producing those beetles, but he can't yet because he has to deal with this giant Zergling force that he just cannot deal with. And honestly, Phog did a great job just kind of darting back and forth and forcing more Banelings to be morphed in. That was more gas that could have been used. And then the Overlord gets picked off, and Phog just takes an enormous advantage because he gets up 10 Mutals through those 3 advantages. The earlier lair tech, the use of all that, forcing the use of all that larva, and the supply block that he manages to induce on Kareener. And he just maintains that 10 Mutals advantage the entire time by picking off that 3rd expansion and just took a significant lead in the game and just continued to secure it with some great defense. So really, really well done by Phog. Some really solid play over here. And that's going to put an end to the Zerg versus Zerg. So guys, if you're watching this on YouTube, go ahead and check out the links just below the video, and you'll get to see, you know, the Twitter account, the Twitch account, etc. Phog is actually a pretty consistent streamer, so go ahead and check him out over there, as well as IvD Gaming, his team. But if you're watching this on Twitch, stick around, guys. We're going to be going for a short intermission. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with the Zerg versus Terran, and of course, if you're on YouTube, you can go ahead and check that out as well as the Zerg versus Protoss. That all should have been uploaded around the same time. So guys, we'll see you with the Zerg vs. Terran in just a little bit. Stay tuned.